Hey everyone, tonight we're stepping into the shadows. Deep shadows. We're going back to the year 1250 AD, right in the heart of medieval Europe. Castles dot the landscape, knights ride through muddy streets, and the church's bells echo across stone cities. This is the age of chivalry, of honor, of romantic tales told by firelight. But we're not here for the romance. We're here for the reality. The dark, brutal, terrifying reality of what it meant to be an assassin in this era. Not a video game character with hidden blades and parkour skills. Not a mysterious hero fighting for justice. But a real person, probably desperate, definitely terrified, who took the worst job imaginable because they had no other choice. Before we dive in, if you enjoy this kind of historically accurate content, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from and whether you think you could have survived medieval times. I always love hearing from you all around the world. Now dim the lights, get comfortable, and let's walk through 24 hours in the life of a medieval assassin. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll be grateful for everything you have in the modern world. Even your worst Monday is better than the best day an assassin ever had. The year is 1250. The place is a mid-sized city somewhere in France or England. The walls are thick stone, the streets are narrow and dark, and you've just agreed to kill someone for money. The contract was made 3 days ago in a shadowy tavern corner. A hooded figure, definitely nobility judging by the quality of their gloves, slid a small purse across the table. Half now, half when the job is done. The target, a wealthy merchant who's made powerful enemies. The timeline, 1 week. The consequences of failure, left unsaid but understood. Refuse, and you might not leave the city alive. Let's be clear about one thing from the start. You are not a master assassin. You're not part of some ancient order with training and resources. You're a former soldier who got discharged after an injury. You know how to use a blade, sure, but killing in battle is different from murder in the dark. You've got debts. Your family is starving. When the nobleman's agent approached you, you saw an opportunity, maybe your only one, to change your fortunes. What you didn't see was the trap closing around you. Because in medieval times, being an assassin wasn't a profession. It was a death sentence with a slight delay. Welcome to your last days on Earth. Let's see how you spend them. Chapter 1, Waking Up to Fear. Dawn breaks cold and gray over the city. You're not sleeping in some comfortable bed. You can't afford that. And even if you could, you wouldn't risk it. Inns keep records. Innkeepers remember faces. When your target turns up dead, anyone who can place you in the city becomes a liability. Instead, you've rented a corner in a warehouse near the docks. It's filthy. It reeks of fish and tar, but it's anonymous. You share the space with a dozen other desperate souls, day laborers, drifters, criminals hiding from the law. No one asks questions here. No one makes eye contact. Everyone is running from something. You barely slept. Every creak of wood, Every distant shout made you jolt awake, hand reaching for the dagger hidden under your threadbare blanket. The dagger is your only possession of value. It's not fancy, just a foot of simple steel with a wrapped leather grip, but it's sharp and it's yours. You've been sleeping with it for 3 days now, ever since you took the contract. The weight of it is both comforting and terrifying. Your body aches. The warehouse floor is packed dirt and broken crates. Your back is stiff, your neck sore. But the physical discomfort is nothing compared to the mental exhaustion. Your mind has been racing nonstop since you took the job. Plans, contingencies, escape routes. What if the target has more guards than expected? What if you're recognized? What if the nobleman who hired you decides to eliminate you instead of paying you? These aren't idle fears. They're realistic assessments based on how the world actually works. You've heard the stories. Every soldier has. Contract killers who completed their jobs and were found floating in rivers days later. Hired thugs who were arrested immediately after their crimes, clearly sold out by their own employers. The powerful don't like loose ends, and you're about to become the loosest end imaginable. You sit up slowly, careful not to draw attention. Around you, other occupants of the warehouse are stirring. A woman coughs violently in the corner, the wet, rattling sound of lung disease. 2 men argue in low voices over a stolen piece of bread. A child, maybe 8 years old, stares at you with hollow eyes. This is the bottom rung of medieval society. These are the invisible people, the ones who don't appear in historical records, because they don't matter to the people who write history. And you're one of them. No matter what happens with this contract, you'll never be anything more. You pull on your boots, such as they are. Leather so worn and cracked they barely hold together. Your clothes are layers of rough wool and linen, patched repeatedly, stained with sweat and dirt. You look like every other poor laborer in the city, which is exactly the point. Invisibility is your only armor. Before you leave the warehouse, you check your possessions. The dagger, obviously. A small pouch with your advance payment. 10 silver pennies, more money than you've seen in years, but nowhere near enough to run far if things go wrong. A crust of dark bread, hard as stone. A water skin, half full. That's it. That's everything you own in the world. You step out into the pre-dawn darkness of medieval streets, and the smell hits you immediately. Sewage, rotting garbage, animal waste, wood smoke, and the sickly sweet scent of disease. This is what medieval cities actually smelled like. The romantic images of gleaming castles and noble knights conveniently leave out the fact that everyone lived in filth. The streets are already coming alive. Bakers are firing their ovens. Laborers trudge toward the docks. Prostitutes finishing their night shifts duck into alleyways. Guards change shifts at the city gates. And somewhere in a comfortable manor house across the city, your target is waking up in a warm bed, completely unaware that his death is being planned. You pull your hood up and begin walking. You have work to do. Research, observation, planning. Because unlike what the movies show, assassination isn't about dramatic moments of violence. It's about preparation. And in your case, it's about figuring out how to kill a well-protected man without getting caught, using only a simple dagger and whatever desperate courage you can muster. The fear sits in your stomach like a stone, but you push it down and keep walking, because turning back isn't an option. The nobleman knows your face. If you don't complete the contract, you're a risk. And risks don't last long in medieval politics. Welcome to day one of your new career as an assassin. Try not to die before sunset. Chapter 2, The Contract and the Lies. Let's rewind for a moment and talk about how you actually got into this mess. Because understanding the contract is crucial to understanding just how screwed you really are. 3 nights ago, you were drinking in a tavern called the Broken Wheel. Not a nice establishment. The kind of place where the ale is watered down, the floor hasn't been cleaned in months, and fights break out nightly. You were drowning your sorrows, which in medieval times means drinking enough cheap alcohol to forget that you're starving. That's when he appeared. A figure in a dark cloak, clearly trying to look inconspicuous, but failing completely because his clothes, even hidden, were too fine. Nobles always stand out. They can't help it. They move differently, speak differently, even smell different because they're not marinating in their own filth like everyone else. He sat down across from you without asking permission. "I hear you served in the king's army," he said quietly. "I hear you know how to handle a blade." You didn't respond immediately. In medieval times, when a nobleman takes interest in you, it's never good news. But you also didn't get up and leave, because you were 2 weeks behind on the pittance you owed for your warehouse corner, and your stomach was so empty it hurt. "There's a man," the figure continued, sliding a small leather purse onto the table. "A merchant. He's caused problems for my employer. Those problems need to end. Permanently. Do this, and there's twice this amount waiting for you when it's done." You opened the purse. 10 silver pennies gleamed in the candlelight. That was 3 months' wages for a laborer. 6 months' worth of food. A fortune to someone like you. "Why me?" you asked. "Because you're not completely stupid. Because you're desperate," the figure replied bluntly. "Because you have skills but no prospects. Because if something goes wrong, you're expendable and you know it. And because if you say no, my employer will ensure you never work in this city again. Or any city. We have a long reach." There it was. Not just an offer, but a threat wrapped in opportunity. Accept the contract and maybe die. Refuse it and definitely die, just slower. Medieval nobility didn't make requests. They made demands and dressed them up as choices. You took the money. What else could you do? The figure provided minimal information. The target's name, Guillaume the merchant. His location, a manor house in the wealthy quarter. His routine, vague details about market days and business meetings. And then the figure disappeared into the night, leaving you alone with a purse of silver and the growing realization that you just signed your own death warrant. Here's what that nobleman didn't tell you, and what you're only beginning to understand now. First, this Guillaume probably isn't just a merchant. Wealthy merchants in medieval times have connections, guards, and political protection. You don't get rich without making powerful friends. Killing him won't be a simple matter of one quick stab in a dark alley. Second, the employer who wants Guillaume dead is playing a political game you don't understand and don't have the education to figure out. You're not killing someone for justice or even for money, really. You're a game piece being moved by players you'll never meet in a contest whose rules you don't know. Third, and most importantly, you will never see the second half of your payment. That's not cynicism, it's reality. Paying you means leaving a witness alive. The smart play, from the nobleman's perspective, is to let you kill Guillaume and then eliminate you immediately afterward. 2 problems solved with 1 conspiracy. But you didn't think all this through 3 nights ago. You were hungry, desperate, and the silver felt heavy and real in your hand. So you took it. And now, walking through the pre-dawn streets of a medieval city with a dagger hidden under your cloak, you're beginning to understand just how completely you've been manipulated. The worst part, even knowing all this now, you can't back out. You've already spent 2 of the silver pennies on food and securing your warehouse space. The nobleman knows your face, knows where you've been staying. If you run, they'll find you. If you go to the authorities, they'll laugh at you, a peasant accusing a noble. You'd be hanged for slander. No, you're committed now. The only way forward is through. You have to kill Guillaume, collect your payment if it actually exists, and then disappear before your employer can tie up loose ends. Simple, right? Except nothing about this is simple. And as the morning light begins to illuminate the narrow, filthy streets around you, you're starting to realize that you might not have a week to complete this job. You might not even have days. Chapter 3. ACQIRING, your tools. Your dagger is serviceable for close combat, but it's not enough. If you're going to kill a wealthy merchant, you need options, backup plans, maybe poison if you can acquire it, maybe a better weapon, definitely more information. The problem is that acquiring any of these things in a medieval city without drawing attention is nearly impossible. You make your way to the market district as it opens. The morning market is chaos. Farmers bringing in produce, butchers setting up stalls with hanging meat that's already attracting flies, fishmongers shouting about their daily catch. The smell is overwhelming, a combination of fresh and rotting food, unwashed bodies, and animal waste. This is actually perfect for your purposes. Crowds mean anonymity. In the press of bodies, you can move without being tracked. You can have conversations without being overheard. And you can acquire certain items without drawing official attention. First, poison. You've heard stories about assassins using exotic toxins, deadly herbs that kill silently in minutes. the reality is far more complicated. True poisons, the reliable ones, are expensive and controlled. Arsenic is mined and sold only to specific craftsmen like glassmakers and requires documentation. Nightshade and hemlock grow wild, but using them effectively requires knowledge you don't have. Dose it too weak, and your target just gets sick. Dose it too strong, and the death is obviously murder, triggering immediate investigations. You find an herb seller, an old woman with a face like cracked leather. Her stall is filled with dried plants, powders, and tinctures. Some for medicine, some for cooking, and some for purposes left unspoken. "I need something for rats," you say quietly. It's a common enough request. She looks at you with eyes that have seen everything. Big rats or small rats. Big ones, persistent. She nods slowly and pulls out a small ceramic vial from beneath her table. Wolfsbane powder. Mix it with fat and meat. Rats eat it, rats die. Painful like, but effective. She doesn't ask why you need poison strong enough to kill a dog. She doesn't care. This is medieval commerce. Don't ask, don't tell, don't get involved. The powder costs you 2 silver pennies, a fortune. You're already down to 6 from your advance. At this rate, you'll be broke before the job even starts. Next, you need information about your target's routines. This is trickier. You can't ask directly without raising suspicion. Instead, you loiter near Guillaume's manor, watching the comings and goings. Medieval cities are small enough that wealthy quarters stand out dramatically, while most of the city is cramped wooden buildings leaning against each other like drunks. The wealthy areas have space. Stone walls, gardens, actual gardens with flowers instead of garbage. Guillaume's manor is impressive. 3 stories, stone construction, with guards at the front entrance. Not soldiers in armor, but hired toughs with clubs and serious expressions. They stop everyone who approaches, checking credentials and purposes. You can't get close, not during the day, not through the front. You spend hours walking the perimeter, pretending to be a laborer looking for work. The manor is surrounded by a stone wall, maybe 8 feet high. There's a servant's entrance in the back, near the kitchens. Workers come and go. Delivery people bringing food. Servants dumping chamber pots into a cesspit. A priest entering to provide morning prayers. This is your best opportunity. The servant's entrance. But you'll need a disguise, a reason to be there, something that gets you past the kitchen staff and into the house proper. As you watch, a baker's boy delivers morning bread. He's young, maybe 15, and clearly familiar to the household. They barely glance at him as he enters. You follow him with your eyes, memorizing his route, his clothing, his basket. An idea forms. It's risky, maybe suicidal, but it's an idea. That night, you find the baker's boy leaving a tavern, drunk and alone. You don't want to hurt him, you're not a monster, but you need his clothes and his delivery basket. In a dark alley, you club him from behind, hard enough to knock him unconscious, but hopefully not hard enough to kill him. You strip him quickly, taking his baker's apron, his cap, his basket. He'll wake up confused and robbed, but alive. You tell yourself that's mercy. In reality, you've probably just created another victim who will be questioned when Guillaume turns up dead. But you can't think about that now. You hide the boy behind some crates and hurry away, your heart hammering. You've just committed assault and robbery. If you're caught now, before you even attempt the assassination, you'll hang. The basket smells of bread and has the baker's mark burned into the handle. Tomorrow morning, you'll fill it with fresh bread you'll have to buy, more of your dwindling silver, and you'll walk right into Guillaume's manor like you belong there. And then you'll figure out the next step. As you make your way back to your warehouse hideout, the wolfsbane powder hidden in your pouch, and the stolen baker's clothes bundled under your arm, you realize something chilling. You've crossed a line. A few days ago, you were just a desperate former soldier. Now you're a thief, a poisoner, a would-be murderer. The transformation happened so gradually, you barely noticed. And that's perhaps the most disturbing part of all. Chapter 4, Surveillance and Paranoia. Day 2 begins much like Day 1, cold, afraid, and increasingly aware that you're in over your head. But now you have a plan, however fragile. Today is about surveillance, learning Guillaume's routine, finding the perfect moment to strike. You purchase 6 fresh loaves from a bakery on the other side of town, using up another precious silver penny. The baker eyes you suspiciously. You're clearly not his usual customer, but money is money. You arrange the loaves in your stolen basket, pull on the baker's apron and cap, and try to look like you've done this 1,000 times. The walk to Guillaume's manor feels like walking to your own execution. Every guard you pass seems to stare. Every merchant seems to recognize you. Your paranoia is building. A constant screaming voice in your head insisting that everyone knows. Everyone can see through your disguise. Everyone is about to raise the alarm. But they don't. Because medieval cities are full of laborers and delivery people, and no one pays attention to them. You're invisible precisely because you look poor and purposeful. You approach the servants' entrance at the back of the manor. Your heart is beating so hard you're certain the guards can hear it. But you keep your head down, your posture casual, and you walk right up to the door like you belong. A kitchen servant, a woman with flour-dusted hands, and a perpetually irritated expression, opens the door. "You're not Pierre," she says immediately. Your blood turns to ice, but you're committed now. "Pierre's sick," you say quickly, keeping your accent rough and uneducated. "Send me instead. Fresh bread, same as always." She eyes you suspiciously for a long moment. This is it. This is where you get caught, where guards are called, where your short career as an assassin ends before it even begins. Then she sighs irritably. "Fine, leave it in the kitchen. And tell Pierre if he's drunk again, he can find other customers." She turns away, and you're in. The kitchen is a chaos of heat, smoke, and activity. Servants prepare the morning meal: porridge, bread, cheese, small beer. A cook shouts orders while stirring an enormous pot over the central fire. No one pays you any attention as you set down your basket and pretend to arrange the loaves. This is your moment to observe. The layout of the house, the number of servants, the security measures. You can see through an open doorway into the main hall. Expensive tapestries, carved furniture, the kind of wealth that makes your empty stomach clench with envy and rage. And there, descending a staircase, is Guillaume himself. He's younger than you expected, maybe 40, with a well-fed face and expensive clothing. He moves with the casual arrogance of someone who's never been truly afraid. Servants bow as he passes. A bodyguard follows him, hand resting on a sword hilt. One bodyguard. That's good intelligence. But Guillaume never seems to be alone. Even now, he's calling for his steward, demanding an update on some business matter. You watch as he eats breakfast in a private chamber off the main hall. The door remains open, but the bodyguard stands outside. For a brief moment, Guillaume is alone with his food and drink. This is your opportunity. This is where the poison could work. If you could get to his breakfast, add the wolfsbane powder. But you can't. There are too many servants, too many eyes. The cook would notice. Someone would remember the strange new baker's boy who appeared the same morning Guillaume was poisoned. You need a different approach, a different time, a different place. You boy, the cook is shouting at you. What are you standing around for? Get out if you're done. You duck your head and hurry out, your mind racing. You've been inside. You've seen the layout. You've seen Guillaume. But you're no closer to actually killing him. And every minute you spend near the manor increases the risk of exposure. Outside, you strip off the baker's apron and cap, hiding them under your cloak. You can't use that approach again. Once was risky enough. Twice would be suicide. You spend the rest of the day following Guillaume from a distance. He visits the market with his bodyguard, conducting business with various merchants. He inspects goods at the docks. He dines at a tavern, a much nicer one than the Broken Wheel, where he's clearly a regular. And throughout all of this, he's never alone, never vulnerable, never in a position where a single man with a dagger could strike without being immediately caught or killed. By evening, you're exhausted, frustrated, and beginning to panic. Your week is running out. You're down to 5 silver pennies. You haven't eaten anything but a piece of stale bread all day. And you're no closer to completing your contract than you were 3 days ago. Worse, you're starting to see shadows everywhere. That man in the market, was he watching you? Those guards at the city gate, did they look at you too long? Is that the same beggar you saw this morning, or a different one? Paranoia is setting in. And in your line of work, paranoia might be the only thing keeping you alive. As night falls and you return to your warehouse hideout, you make a decision. Tomorrow, You'll have to take a massive risk. You'll have to get close to Guillaume, close enough to use your dagger, and hope that speed and surprise are enough. Because the alternative, running away and hopping the nobleman forgets about you, isn't really an alternative at all. You fall asleep gripping your dagger, dreaming of blood and screaming, and wake up several times to phantom sounds of guards breaking down doors. Welcome to the life of an assassin. This is what they don't show you in the games. Chapter 5, The Impossible Approach. Day 3, the midpoint of your week. Time is running out, and you still haven't found a clean opportunity to strike. But today, something changes. Today, Guillaume makes a mistake. You're following him again, maintaining distance, but keeping him in sight. He's conducting his usual business, visiting warehouses, meeting with other merchants, reviewing manifests of goods arriving by river. The bodyguard remains a constant presence. Then Guillaume does something unexpected. He dismisses his bodyguard. You can't believe your luck. They're standing near a church, and Guillaume apparently has confessional business he wants to conduct privately. The bodyguard doesn't look happy about it, but Guillaume insists. He'll be inside the church for perhaps half an hour. The bodyguard can wait outside or get a drink at a nearby tavern. The bodyguard reluctantly agrees and heads toward the tavern. Guillaume enters the church alone. This is it. This is the opportunity you've been waiting for. A wealthy man alone in a relatively quiet location. If you're going to strike, it has to be now. Your hands are shaking as you grip your dagger beneath your cloak. You wait a few minutes, letting Guillaume get settled in the confessional. Then you follow him inside. The church is dark, lit only by candles and weak sunlight filtering through small windows. It smells of incense and old stone. A few people kneel in prayer, their heads bowed. A priest moves near the altar, arranging ceremonial objects. You spot the confessional, a wooden booth with carved screens. You can hear murmuring from inside. Guillaume's voice speaking to the priest through the screen. How do you do this? You can't just burst into a confessional and stab someone. There are witnesses. The priest would raise the alarm immediately. But if you wait for Guillaume to emerge, you'll lose the advantage of surprise. You make a snap decision. You approach the confessional, pretending to wait your turn for confession. The few other people in the church don't pay attention. Confession is private, sacred. Guillaume's voice rises slightly. He's talking about business sins, about profits made through deception. The priest responds in low, soothing tones, offering absolution. Your heart is hammering so hard you feel dizzy. The dagger is in your hand now, hidden by your cloak. You're going to do this. You're actually going to murder someone in a church. The thought should horrify you. A few days ago, it would have. But now, after days of fear and surveillance and paranoia, you're beyond horror. You're operating on pure survival instinct. Guillaume finishes his confession. You hear him moving, about to emerge from the booth. This is it, the moment. Once he steps out, you'll have perhaps 3 seconds before he can cry out or defend himself. 3 seconds to end a life and change yours forever. The confessional door opens. Guillaume steps out, his expression relaxed, absolved of his sins, completely unaware of the danger, standing 2 feet away. You step forward, dagger raised, and then everything goes wrong. A hand grabs your wrist from behind, iron strong. You spin, startled, and find yourself face to face with Guillaume's bodyguard. He didn't go to the tavern. He circled back. And now he's got you. Thief, he shouts, his voice echoing through the church. This man tried to rob Master Guillaume. People turn. The priest comes running. Guillaume stumbles backward, shocked and frightened. You try to wrench free, but the bodyguard is stronger, trained. He twists your wrist until you drop the dagger with a clatter. Then he punches you in the stomach, driving the air from your lungs. You collapse, gasping. The bodyguard kicks your dagger away and draws his own sword, pressing the point against your throat. Move and I'll kill you right here, he growls. Guillaume has recovered his composure. He looks down at you with a mixture of fear and contempt. A thief in God's house, he says. How dare you? How dare you? You can't speak, can't breathe. Your mind is racing. They think you're a thief. That's actually good, better than them knowing you're an assassin. But you're still caught. You're still about to be dragged to the authorities. And then Guillaume says something that changes everything. Take him to my manor. I want to question him before I hand him over to the bailiff. The bodyguard hesitates. Sir, we should take him to the guards immediately. I said take him to my manor, Guillaume repeats firmly. I want to know who sent him. Thieves don't act alone. There's a gang operating in this city, and I intend to root them out. Your blood turns to ice. He wants to question you, which means torture. Medieval interrogation techniques aren't gentle. They'll break your fingers, pull out your teeth, use hot irons until you confess everything. And you will confess. Everyone does eventually. The bodyguard hauls you to your feet roughly. Your ribs ache where he kicked you. Your wrist is already swelling. He binds your hands with rope and drags you out of the church. People stare as you're marched through the streets. A captured criminal being hauled to justice. Some jeer, some spit. This is medieval entertainment, public humiliation of the wicked. You're dragged to Guillaume's manor, through the servant's entrance you used yesterday, and thrown into a cellar storage room. The bodyguard chains you to a wall. Someone will be down to talk to you shortly, he says coldly. Then he leaves, locking the door behind him. You're alone in the darkness, chained to a wall, and your assassination contract has just become your death sentence. Chapter 6. The brutal reality of killing. Let's pause here and talk about something important. Something the movies never show you accurately. What it actually feels like to kill someone. You were moments away from murdering Guillaume. Your dagger was raised. Your intent was clear. If the bodyguard hadn't grabbed you, you would have plunged that blade into Guillaume's back or throat, felt the resistance of fabric and flesh, heard his gasp of pain and shock. And then what? Have you ever actually thought about what comes after that first strike? Hollywood assassins make it look clean. One quick stab, a surprised expression, and the target falls dramatically dead. Reality is nothing like that. Nothing. A knife wound, unless it hits exactly the right spot, doesn't kill instantly. The target screams. They fight back. They grab at you, at the blade, at anything. Blood goes everywhere, hot and slippery, making your hands wet, making the weapon hard to hold.